Hey, Teisco, coming at you from my basement. So it's been a long time since I've done anything to put up on this YouTube channel. I've during the pandemic, I did about 20 or so long form episodes of what I called Greasy Time, and most days I get asked, usually through my Instagram account, which I'm the most kind of consistent with, when are you going to do? When are you going to do that again? When are you going to do those, more Greasy Times on YouTube or whatever? And I still do the long form Greasy Times. I do them on a website, my friend Mark's website, together.co with a 2, and have for about, over 2 years now. And I love doing the long show. It's a lot of work because my shows tend to be 90 minutes, and there's a lot of songs that I play. There's a lot of I over prepare for them, honestly. But I finally, in my list, I have a 4-year-old daughter and a wife, and just time is just flying by for me. Playing on a lot of records again. I kind of, my session career kind of took a break there for several years, and now the last couple of years, especially since COVID, I was lucky to get on a couple of high profile projects that have yielded a lot more work. And I've also started producing records, which is something I didn't necessarily ever see myself getting into, mostly because of my insecurities. But I've found myself, I've worked on several really great projects in a row, and there's more coming down the pike, which I'm really grateful for. But anyway, long story short, I just want to commit to, I was like, man, I can do something at least once a week, So here I am, playing this old Teisco. I just got this last week. I always have a guitar. I tend to, my Telecaster that Dan Strain put together, it's actually in a case over there from, I worked earlier today, and I didn't get it out of the case, so it's over there. But I mostly play that, and then I also play this old ES5 a lot, which I'm sure I'll play on some future episodes here. I've got a whole rack of cool guitars here, but I mostly play this ES5 and the Telecaster most of the time, no matter what I'm doing. It's just, both those seem to really suit the kind of music that I end up working on, whether for myself or mostly for others too. But I always have a guitar tuned down and sort of, I like B to B. Some people tune baritones A to A, B flat to B flat, C to C, whatever. And I have, I've had an old Jazz Master that for the last several years, I used tune like that. But I got this, I took a chance on it. This was for sale up in Canada, and I bought it, and it showed up in one piece, thankfully. And the neck is straight, the frets are in great shape. It sounds awesome, and there was some tuning instability. And I took it after I worked this morning. I went to Joe Glazer's shop, and Nick Druschel just did a little touch up on it. Now it's staying in tune great. So it's kind of probably about to become an everyday driver for me. And I got introduced to Teisco's, my good friend Joe McMahon, who's a wonderful guitarist and producer here in Nashville. He has a beautiful old Lindell. He has the exact same guitar as this, except these have the bigger gold foils. His has like the single coil sort of Hound Dog Taylor style pickups in it. But other than that, it's the same guitar. And I lucked out and found it with these, which, these are the sort of, like the Rycooter kind of ones that people tend to pay a lot of money for. So I got lucky on this one, because I bought this for a very reasonable amount of money. But he has a guitar tuned. His is actually a Lindell. I guess like Segovia, Teisco, Lindell, like depending upon who were distributing them, they would moniker them with whatever brand. This I believe was a Teisco, because there's a Teisco sticker on the back here. But nonetheless, people like Rockhooter, the Kauai that Hound Dog Taylor played, Johnny Shines, the great Chicago bluesman that famously traveled and played with Robert Johnson in the 30s. He famously played a shark fin, a white shark fin Teisco, which fellow Nashville guy Jed Hughes, he's got a shark fin that he uses a lot, or uses, I guess. He might not have it, I don't know, but I've seen him with it. And David Lindley, of course, was famous for using the shark fin one, what's known as the shark fin one. I don't remember the actual model number. But anyway, I'm really digging on this. I was using the bridge pickup and the neck pickup when I was playing there in the beginning. Which is sort of me playing sort of in the style of Lightning Hopkins, playing with my fingers. But this is a great... I'll play some of the different... here's the bridge pickup. I'll put some verb on, and it's got these, like, I don't know, jukebox switches, I guess, Great sound. I like this pickup a lot too. The second pickup. It's actually, I think, my favorite. I'll put my Klon on. Sound. Then the other neck pickup. Little odd time signature blues there. And then the neck pickup, which I was playing on the... So anyway, a lot of cool sounds. I've got George Bradfute, who's a great producer, a multi-instrumentalist friend of mine here in Nashville. He taught me, as far as strings and stuff like that, like this is a 11 set of strings where I've thrown away the high E string and moved them over where the B is the high E, essentially. So this is a 14, and then I have a 64 wound string single to make the set that's on here. And yeah, it's freaking great. I love it. And it's, like I said, probably going to become a everyday driver for me. Anyway, also wanted to talk about, I read a lot, and I listen to music every day. I try to listen to something new every day, which I don't always get to, but it's a practice that I try and adhere to because it's really helped yield interesting. And so I've been on a big Sonny Sherrick kick for the last couple of months. Sonny Sherrick was a sort of an avant-garde jazz guitar player in New York City in the 60s, 70s, and into the 90s. And in particular, he played with the great Pharoah Sanders, sax player. And his first record was I believe it's called Black Woman. That's at least the first track on it. You can find it on streaming services and stuff. I've really dug that. So I'd call that my record of the week. And I've really I'm a huge JFK assassination, obsessive, and I have been since I was in grade school. There's a new book. It's called New Findings in the Killing of John F. Kennedy. It's really great. It's basically cross-referencing all the documents, not all the documents, but it's cross-referencing documents that have been released since the 90s, and people who've taken the time to go to the National Archives and actually do the research, which is painstaking and laborious. So anyway, I've really enjoyed reading that this past week. Other than that, had some interest. I played on James McCartney's new record, Paul's Son, which was a gas. I've been chipping away at making a new record for myself, which I need to sit down and actually take the time to do. And then I'm sure some of you have probably heard about my very good friend Kirk Fletcher. Kirk and I became friends over the last many years and got really close when he moved here over a year ago to Nashville, and actually was fortunate to produce his new record, which is amazing. It's like an old school. To me, it sounds like something that would have come out on Federal or King Records in Cincinnati, which is the label that Freddie King was on and James Brown was on, and it just sounds like a King record to me. It's a really great thing. It's awesome, and it'll be out eventually. But Kirk had a stroke on stage. We have a Monday night residency here in Nashville at the East Side Bowl, which was meant to just have some fun while we're on an off night when we're typically home. It was a scary situation, but he's doing okay. Definitely on the mend. But obviously, if there's anything that anybody out there wants me to pass on to him, I'd be more than happy to do that. He's a very, very close friend, and I love him very much. And I've tried to be there for him through this, and he'll be back. So anyway, I'm just babbling on. I hope. So anyway, I just want to check in and play some music and talk about some stuff. I love old Teiscos, and I don't know if there's favorite records of yours that kind of feature them. I definitely, like I said, like David Lindley, El Rayo X, and certainly Hound Dog Taylor and Johnny Shines, and occasionally when Ry Cooder would use them. Or I love my friend Joe McMahon, who I mentioned earlier. He had a group 10 years ago here called Luella and the Sun, and he did some incredible stuff with Teiscos. And if you want to find that on streaming services, that stuff, I think if you like the stuff that I like, you would probably love that stuff. So, but anyway, I got some homework. I got a shed going up to St. Louis tomorrow to do a show where I'm playing with the trio, but also backing up my friend Matty Shell, who I produced a record on late last year. It's a real soulful, sort of Muscle Shoals-y kind of sounding album. And So I'm going to do some homework and then get ready to go play with the guys tonight at the Eastside Bowl for our brother Kirky. So anyway, I hope y'all are well, and yeah, I'll see you.